Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Boom Children's Ministries. And today we are going to talk about the 3 rules. So stay tuned. All right, as I said, we're going to talk about the 3 rules today. And I'm not talking like 3 rules that you need to follow. I'm referring to 3 rules that you are going to tell the kids that they need to follow as soon as you start the program. This is literally the first thing that you need to do when you do your program. Now, before I really get into that, let me say this. The last few weeks we have talked about philosophy of children's ministry. We have talked about, I've given an introduction to why we have this channel. Now we're going to start getting into some of the nuts and bolts type stuff. Today is a very nuts and bolts type of day. So because of that, I have seen a lot of different children's ministries in my very short life. I've had the privilege of seeing a lot of ministries at work, and what I've done is in my own children's ministry, I've taken elements of things from this ministry and that ministry and here and from there. I've seen what works and then what doesn't work, and what I have done is I've kind of put them all together into something that's my own. So if you're listening to this YouTube channel and you say to yourself, well, I've heard someone do that before, or I grew up with my teachers doing this, or whatever, understand there's nothing new under the sun. I'm not creating something from scratch. I'm just seeing the things that have worked through the years and what continue to work now, and I want to share that with you. So what you need to do is, from the very beginning, as soon as you start your program, you need to start off by saying there are 3 rules in children's church. Of course, you can call it children's church, you can call it junior church, or whatever the name of your children's program is. And this is going to be your pattern, if you will. You are going to follow the same script every week. Now, we're going to talk about this in future episodes because there are going to be several times in your program where you are going to follow a specific script. You are not going to stray away from it. You're going to say the same exact thing at some points every single week. What that does is it gives your kids a sense of familiarity and gives them a sense of comfortability. It makes them kind of know what's coming. But at the same time, in the next few weeks, we're going to talk about how they still won't know what's coming. You want them to be comfortable. At the same time, you want them to anticipate what's going to happen next. So you want to start off with the 3 rules in children's church. Now, here's how I do it. I'm going to pretend that you are a kid today. I'm the teacher, and you are the children in children's church. Here's what I would say. Welcome to oh, goodness gracious. I messed up right from the very beginning. I don't like talking to the camera. You're not a kid. You're not really a kid. I don't really see you. I see me. I don't like that. Okay. Anyway, let's keep going. We have 3 rules in children's church. Rule number 1 is we listen and we don't talk. What is it? And then they answer back, we listen and we don't talk. Rule number 2 is we sit up straight. What is it? We sit up straight. Rule number 3 is we keep our hands and our feet to ourselves. What is it? We keep our hands and our feet to ourselves. Okay, now I know that little whispering part I did was supposed to be you. So let's try that again. Ready? This time you're going to say that part, okay? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be silent. I'm going to be like the teacher here for real. Ready? It goes like this. We have 3 rules in junior church. Rule number 1 is we listen and we don't talk. What is it? Rule number 2 is we sit up straight. What is it? And rule number 3 is we keep our hands and our feet to ourselves. What is it? Very good. Now, you will continue on, and I don't know if you want to do a Quiet Seat Award for the best boy and the best girl that are following these 3 rules. What I tend to do is I will choose volunteers during the service who are following those 3 rules. But either way, you can give them some sort of an incentive for following the 3 rules the best they can. And of course, during your prayer, or at some points throughout the program, you'll want to remind them of these three rules. So while I'm praying, I'll say, Lord, thank you for this day you've given us, and Lord, I pray you'll help these kids to listen and not talk, to sit up straight, and to keep their hands and their feet to themselves. And what I have found is that throughout the program, throughout the day, if I find that the kids are starting to slouch a little more, or I'm starting to lose their attention, they're starting to talk a little bit, I'm going to say, remember the three rules. Rule number one is we listen, we don't talk, we sit up straight, we keep our hands and our feet to ourselves. And what I find is that when I remind the kids of the three rules, they suddenly, at first they're sitting like this, and suddenly they sit up and they put their hands on their lap, and they're paying more attention because I've reminded them of these three rules. So why have three rules in children's church, and why make it the very beginning? Well, there's a few reasons. One, you want to set the child's expectations, right? The child needs to know what you expect of them from the very beginning. And this speaks to control. And we're going to talk a lot about control because I sincerely believe that 90%, that's the number just throwing out there, an overwhelming majority part of your children's program involves you establishing control over the program. The kids are not in control. You are in control. So the very first thing that you do is you tell them, here's what I expect of you. But you do it in a way that's kind of fun. Now, there's going to be more stuff that's more fun to come in the program, right? Going over the three rules isn't exactly the most thrilling part of the program. It's not the part where, children are going to go home and say, man, my favorite part of the children's program was the three rules. They're not going to do that. But at the same time, these three rules where you get them to repeat after you, it's a lot easier and a lot more effective than sitting the kids down and saying, all right, kids, now we have 27 rules that you have to follow or else you're going to be in really big trouble. Get them involved with the three rules. Set their expectations up. And then the reason why you have them to repeat after you is because that is even more establishing control. How so? Again, we're going to talk about this with specifically songs in the next few weeks. When you tell kids to say something after you, to repeat after you, you are, in a way, establishing your control over those kids. You told them, say this, and they end up saying it. Now, in their minds, that's not control. In their minds, you're doing something that they enjoy. But in your mind, you're doing something that establishes control over the class. Why is that important? Because the three rules, them repeating after you, not a big deal. The next time, the song, them repeating after you or taking out words or singing faster, singing slower, whatever, really, that's not that important. It's not a big deal. But if you, throughout the program, establish control over the situation, establish control over the room, by the time you get to the lesson, you have full control of your audience. And that is when it's really important. Don't look at your song time as simply a filler time. See it as, I am establishing my control over the room. And that's what the three rules is. It's establishing control by saying, rule number one is we listen and we don't talk. What is it? We listen and we don't talk. They're repeating after you. So there you go. That it sets their expectations for what the day is going to involve. It controls the room. It's beginning the steps of controlling the room. And then lastly, why have the three rules? The other reason is because you want kids to feel like it's not really that big of a deal to follow three rules, right? You don't have a list up on your wall that says, here are the 50 things you need to remember to follow here in children's church, or else you're in really big trouble. No. You're not asking the kids to follow 50 rules. You're asking the kids to do three things: to listen and not talk, to sit up straight, to keep their hands and their feet to themselves. And the truth is this: those three rules, there's a whole lot that falls under those umbrellas, right? There's a lot more that can be said, but those three rules are basically distilled. Those are basically so many different rules, but really said in three different steps. Another thing is that really when you say we listen and we don't talk, well, they are going to talk. They're going to talk when you tell them to talk. So they're going to catch on to that. They're going to start to understand that. So giving kids three rules, in their minds, it's like, okay, I can do that. I can follow three rules instead of having to follow 50 or even 20. Three rules is easy to follow, especially for an hour of time. So again, you want to start your program with the three rules. Rule number 1 is we listen and we don't talk. Rule number 2 is we sit up straight. Rule number 3 is we keep our hands and our feet to ourselves. That sets up their expectations, that establishes your control, and it helps a kid feel more comfortable with the fact that you don't have a bunch of rules, you only have 3. And that is a surefire way to start your program off on a good foot. So that is my episode for today. The 3 rules. Teach them, follow them. You'll be better off for doing it. That is the episode today. Don't forget to like and to subscribe. Do all of those things. I have a lot of good stuff coming up in these next few weeks, so keep watching and share this video if you will. Share this to your friends. Share this to your pastor. Share this to your children's ministry leaders. We're starting to get into the really practical stuff here, and I hope you're learning from it. And if you are, write something in the comments. So a lot of things I wanted you to do. Like, subscribe, comment, share, do all that stuff. That would just be wonderful. Anyway, have a good week, and I hope that your children's ministry this week, whatever day it might be, goes incredibly well in the Lord. Bye.